my bullion dealer says this metal's stupid or this is what you should be stacking. So clickbaity, and got a bullion dealer standing there like this. What's up, buddy?
Buck, what's happening, buddy?
Ooh, is that too loud?
I don't know. You sounded good to me.
Right on.
What you sipping on there? And some hot tea?
Oh, just a little bit of diet cola.
Oh, right on, man.
It's all that we keep around here.
Got my water.
Yeah, I was all watered out. I drank a bunch at work today.
Good stuff, man. How you been, man? What's new?
Good. No, getting closer to Christmas. Work's winding down for the year.
Y'all caught up on your shopping?
Yes. We actually finished Saturday.
Everything wrapped?
Everything's wrapped.
Wow, look at that, man.
Everything's wrapped. Well, there is one big ass box that it's just too much to wrap. It's just something I think I'm gonna throw out.
Slap a bow on it.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
I'm telling you, the box I could fit in the box. It's one of those. It's that big. I don't. It's
a lot of wrapping paper.
It's a huge box and it's very, very light. So I honestly don't know what's in it. It's for one of the kids. The wife ordered it or whatever it is. I have no clue what it is though. I didn't ask. I just threw it in the side room.
Cool.
It was there when I got home from work. What are you up to? What do you do?
Well, we're all done with Christmas shopping. Actually, a funny story. I was at Target a couple days ago and I bought impulse bought a gift for my son. It was a little Godzilla stuffed animal thing, and the tag right on the shelf said $20, like $19.99. I was like, all right, I could do that. Go up to the register. There's an older couple in front of me, and they're buying some sweatpants and sweatshirts and all that good stuff. And I go and I'm just standing in line waiting, and the guy's like $116. This is crazy. $116. How is this 160? He was like throwing a fit over the fact that clothes cost so much now. And he was older. So, I was thinking in my head, man, this guy's probably lived through like the 40s or 50s, prices were really low and things like that. And, the guy at the register who all he could say is inflation. That's what's up. It's inflation. And so I get to the register, they pay, they leave. I get to the register and, he swipes my my stuffed plushie. It wasn't $20, man. That thing was 40. And I was like, $40. And I was like, man, I must sound just like 20. This old man. I must have sounded like the old man. He was like, man, I wish I could have told you it was 20.
Yeah, but, dude, we got kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, 2019, 2020, when interest rates were so damn low and it's all catching up to us now, man. We were talking about a deer camp, and my dad says, these interest rates ain't even that high. Historically, they're not that high. He says, I think I bought my first house and it was 12 or 14% interest. Yeah. Now that's going back to the 70s, what have you. Yep. But, everybody's throwing their arms up in the air, and it could be worse, man. My dad said it to me all the time. It's funny. He gave me some meat. It just is a funny story. He gave me some meat sticks, right? And I took them to work and was giving them to the guys. I was like, man, something just ain't right. Like, it didn't have any flavor. And I look at the package, and the date says, like, packaged November of 2019. I call him up on the phone. I said, Dad, listen, man, I love you. I appreciate everything you do for me. But I said, we need to go through your freezers because I'm done with you giving me this old ass bullshit. I said, I can't be taking this stuff to work and giving it to guys from 2019. From 2019. Well, you ain't never been through hard times. Don't throw it away. Bring it back to me. You ain't never been through hard times. You ain't never been through hard times. That's his line. And it's the truth, man. They grew up on lard and onion sandwiches on a piece of bread if they had it,
You gotta
that
make
was
do,
the life
man.
here.
That's right, so, man. That's right.
Yeah.
You got some new ink there. I see you kind of flashing it off. What you got there? Till death. Looks like it's missing half a phrase.
It is missing a little chunk. So that is something my wife and I got done. We didn't buy each other anything for Christmas. We decided not to do anything this year for each other because what more could we possibly need, right? I think I deleted the picture.
Oh,
where'd it go? Hold on, I'll find it. So I called her up one afternoon last week and I said, we've been talking about these tattoos for quite a while, getting something for each other or, with each other. What do you got there? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I sent it to you. I deleted
Why is
so
it doing that?
there it
There
is.
we go.
All right. So that's, yeah. So here, I'm going to get a little mushy on you. When we hold hands, and yes, couples still hold hands, they line up really nice. So
That's
what.
awesome, man. Very cool, man.
Yeah, yeah. Didn't hurt too bad either. Right there on the hand, it's not terrible.
Yeah. What's the most painful spot you got one done at?
Well, it's kind of both. It's so my whole back's done, and right down the spine was pretty goofy. But then like here, because it kind of wraps, it's an eagle, and its wings come like around my ribs here. And this was kind of like both. This was like I wanted to punch him, but I also wanted to laugh at the same time
Oh,
because
that's weird.
it's like it tickled and it was kind of like pulling the skin at the same time. It's
Yeah.
you've got tattoos, you know how it is. It's like the
Yeah.
outlining is the worst, and then when they're filling it in and doing some shading, that's not terrible, except when you're sitting there for 4 to 6, 8 hours at a time,
Right.
and they're just drilling that ink in your skin. You just go numb after a while.
Dude, the sternum was awful, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything down there that's sternum, like
No,
right at
just
the bottom.
here.
Okay.
And then over here.
All right. Yeah, like right down here, right at the bottom, at the base of the sternum, like near the solar plex.
Yeah.
Or solar plexus. That area is pretty awful, man.
Right on.
So let's do some admin stuff real quick while we got everybody here. Guys, welcome to the show. This is
Welcome to the show.
I'm Emil and
Paulie.
There you go. Taking a hit.
I got that.
And we are your hosts for the Crucible. So if you guys want to check us out on our other platforms, and mind you, if you sign up for the mailing list or follow or subscribe to the other platforms, you will be entered to win this 5-ounce silver pour. It was poured in wood. It is gorgeous, guys. And we're ready to give it away. We just need some more entrants so that we can.
I'm definitely ready because I don't have it.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for him just to give it away.
That's right. So 3 ways to get in on it. www.cruciblelive.com. Sign up for the mailing list. You can get on Instagram at the Crucible Podcast, one word. Or on YouTube, there is a dedicated channel. That's number 3. That's going to be at the Crucible Podcast.
That's right. That's right.
Check it out, guys.
Get over there, subscribe, follow, send us a damn email. It's not that hard. Maybe you don't want free silver. I don't know.
I don't know why you wouldn't want free silver.
No. All right, dude, check it out. I'm going to give you a kind of, for instance, this is what this is about. This is about, we're going into 2024, right? And there's a lot of people that come on my channel asking a lot of questions about silver and gold, this and that, because I mean, that's what the channel's about. And let's play this. I'm new. I'm brand new to stacking, and I end up on your channel, or we meet in person. And how would you go about telling me a good way to get started? I guess. What direction would you point me? What platform should I go to? And mind you, I live in the middle of nowhere, so I really don't have an LCS that's close. Like a coin shop, maybe 2 hours away. There is one about a half hour away, but I'm really not too keen on that guy up there. So I've got the internet, I've got a cell phone. I mean, is there ways that I can get involved in this kind of stuff? Let's talk a little bit like that. You wanna?
Sure. All right. So I think everybody's scenario is going to be a little bit different, right? You have people who maybe they've been aware of precious metals from a young age. A lot of times, like either let's say their dad was a collector, or their grandpa, or maybe they come from a culture where culturally it's normal to know about precious metals. I know, like, for instance, in the Chinese culture, a typical gift would be a gift of silver or gold for, like, I don't know, let's say there's a newborn or a graduation gift, things like that.
Well, let's go there. I mean, what was a gift that was given to to Mary when baby Jesus was born. Well, when they brought
gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Yeah, those
That's
are
right.
commodities.
That's right.
How about that stuff? So yeah, I mean that could be. It really is based on how you learned about it, right? So
Yeah.
if somebody already has a basis for it, they're going to be kind of easier to educate in some cases. Maybe they're already set in their ways. But if somebody who is just naive to the whole subject and they watched a video where some guy said, yeah, you got to diversify your portfolio, or you want to hedge against inflation, so you want to look at silver and gold, undervalued assets, things like that. That's a whole nother topic. And I think you and I haven't been in this realm for long enough. We kind of go through the different phases, and it is something of phases of
Yeah, for sure.
stacking / collecting,
Yep.
and you grow through it. And then when you get to like our point, you kind of realize that part of it is going to be buying and holding on to the things you love, um, collecting more of the things that make sense, and offloading the things that you maybe purchased previously that don't really fit into your portfolio and fit into what you want your portfolio to look like. But it's all going to be customized. It's all going to be based on what you want, or what result you want from it. So I guess, Paulie, my question to you would be, what do you want to get out of your gold and silver stacking journey, we'll say?
Well,
What's your end goal?
and that's just it. I mean, my personal end goal is just to hold it. Like it's there for if I need it, right? I'm case of emergency, break glass, right? If I was starting over knowing what I know now, or everything that I've been through, I would be staying away from everything and sticking with the dirtiest, nastiest silver rounds that I can get for the cheapest price, because you can hold that stuff, you can clang it around in your hands. People get so afraid, and this is why I love making videos like that. I love taking coins out of the capsules and holding them either with my bare hand or a glove on the rim, as a coin grader would do. And sometimes they got those little medical fingertips on or whatever, just like that, right? That is meant to be. That coin right there was spent. What year is it?
Oh, what does that say?
23.
23.
Was spent
Yeah.
his money, right? And people they get so offensive when you do something like that. It's yours. It might be somebody else's some other day. It's 100-year-old coin. It's 2023. It made it. Touch it. So people take offense to that stuff, and I don't care if it's a Canadian maple leaf or a silver eagle. They make those things in the millions, and you can't touch them. Get over it, right?
Right.
So that's where I would tell someone to start: is grab the stuff that you see for the cheapest in the bin that isn't in a capsule, and start stacking there. Make your base with that stuff right there. Enjoy it. Throw it up in the air. Let it clang around, because in the end, you can take a brand new Buffalo and you're probably going to get damn close to the same price as you are for that dinged up one. You could take 20 of them in there, and one of them's dinged up. He's not going to give you, if anything, less than what the rest are. Now you start talking about all these high premiums on Eagles and Maples and Britannias and Krugerrands and all that stuff, because they're government backed. You're paying more of a premium.
Right.
Sometimes you're going to get what you pay for them. Most of the time you ain't. Where that's different with generics. Generics is generics. You pay a little bit less of a premium because it isn't government backed, but someone still has to take the time, get those planchets, make that Buffalo. So you are paying for a little bit of that work on top of the spot price. Look, spot price is very tough to buy at, and it's just sometimes you can, and most of the time you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. But this is where I would start, and this is probably something I would love to get back to, but I've got what I feel is enough silver for now. I don't need to keep putting the stuff in my safe. I'm to the point now where gold is where I'm at.
Right. Paulie, I'm gonna let's make this a fun show. I'm gonna debate you on this one, because I'm a master debater.
I bet you are.
No. So I was actually thinking about this, and I honestly don't have a whole lot of generics. Mind you, you said something specific there that if you could go back and redo things, right? Start over, you would take a different approach. I think I would too. But I don't know that I would necessarily go for, the generic buffaloes and things like that. Something that I think I might rather go for is, plain old constitutional. And the reason why is because, like you said, it is government backed, but it's also very low premium.
Right.
Oh, he's going to get something. He's going to get something. So it's low premium, and it comes in different denominations. It's fractional.
It is.
Unlike, yes, you can get.
I was keeping a little sack of it by me.
There you go. There you go. But you can get, these are dimes, right? So these are 1/14 of an ounce. You have 14 of these, you got an ounce.
14, you get 14 of those, you melt them down, you got an ounce.
Right.
Ounce of silver. Ounce of pure silver.
You can also get quarters. You can get the half dollars. You can get these are constitutional, right? The peace dollar I showed a second ago, the Morgans, those are all also some of them. The older they go, the more numismatic they are. Like right here, this one will carry a heavy premium. This is a 1917 Type 1. I call this the booby quarter, because if it will get into focus, you can actually see she is topless.
Yeah. See, and it's stuff like that people shouldn't rush it. If you're talking about, that's collecting, right?
Yes. That's a different category. That's a different category.
That's collecting. Stacking is completely different, and people do get confused very, very easily.
Yeah. So that would be in the realm of true numismatics, right? Yep. So what we're talking about is putting the base of your stack in one component, one vehicle. And the one you said was generics, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? I think ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to dollar cost average it if you're trying to build a base of your stack. And I don't know if are you familiar with Mad Stacker?
Yes and no. Yes, I know who you're talking about. As far as familiar, probably not as well as you are. I've watched a lot of his stuff. I've just never been in like the streams and had conversations and stuff like that. But I know who it is.
I kind of grew up on YouTube with him. Like we both started channels around the same time, etc. And something that I noticed that he always did is he kept a running tally of his dollar cost average. So he would buy the cheapest possible. If he could get it under spot, he would get it under spot, and he would average out. There you go, the ping test. He would average out his total amount of silver in his stack based on how much he paid for it. And it was really interesting to see that, because I knew I wasn't doing that. And I knew that if I tried, I would look like a fool compared to what he had going on. There you go, a Benji. All right, so that is a nice $50 constitutional. So I love constitutional silver, man. And I think you got, oh, nice. I love those, man. Those are cool. So you got a buddy that you were mentioning earlier to me, International Stacker. He's got some videos from back in the day where he showed his full stack. If you see his constitutional silver stack, it's like, I mean, you probably need a wheelbarrow to carry that thing. It's so much. And that's an awesome base, because I think at any point that stuff is going to be liquid compared to 100%. Compared to generics, where if you take generics every day. They make them every day, but also if you take them into a shop, they may want to test them, because they're very often counterfeited. So that's the only risk, like is the bogus generics that they're made in China. They sell them on Wish.com.
No, you're 100% there. That's 100% correct, right? And this stuff they don't make no more. The stuff you're showing, the constitutional, the junk silver, they just don't make it anymore, and that's why. It also holds even itself. Just a silver dime is what, $1.80, $2 to try and buy one right now. Depending on what it is, whether it's a Mercury dime or a Roosevelt dime, they still carry a premium. Everything's going to carry a premium.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like that as a base for the stack. Honestly, like to be honest, the base of my stack was maples. I had 4 monster boxes of maples. That was my first big purchase. And man, that felt good. But looking back, and they sold like hotcakes when silver spiked up to $30 an ounce. They sold. But looking back on it, I almost feel like I probably could have done way better. I could have got way more silver had I just stuck with constitutional, like made a big purchase from a dealer. Probably could have dollar cost averaged it way better.
Probably could have. Probably could have. And where I'm at is I got into bars basically. I knew I wasn't stacking for prepping, what have you. So I knew that the history of constitutional silver is there, but I'm not worried about having to use that to go buy
Barter.
goods and barter with, right? So I knew that I didn't want to get too involved with that. I didn't want to be stacking boxes of this stuff in my safe or in a closet somewhere. You know, that stuff gets heavy. It gets very,
Yep.
very heavy.
Yep.
So I went with 5 and 10-ounce bars and eventually into kilo bars, where I kind of, not that I messed up because they do resell well, is I got into mostly the Royal Canadian Mint 10-ounce bars and kilo bars. They're like a drug, man. They're such a good looking product.
Mm-hmm.
It's well known and it's made by the Canadian government. Now they don't hold a face value. Some bars do hold a face value like a coin would,
Right.
but these don't. And that's where my base is in 5 and 10-ounce and kilo bars, right? And I've talked about 100-ounce bars. I don't own any. I don't think I would ever want to own one. Just maybe to just say I own one, but
Yeah.
I don't flex like a lot of people do. So it's I don't show everything I have. I have no reason to. I talk about things I know and that's it. I don't need to lay a bunch of stuff on the table for a view or two, you know?
Right.
Um,
I did have 300-ounce bars from Scottsdale, the stackers.
yeah,
Those were sweet, really,
yeah,
really pretty bars. And
yeah,
as soon as, and mind you, I bought them when silver was $17.90 an ounce, and I sold them when silver was right around 30 an ounce. So
yeah.
as
No,
soon
that's
as the opportunity hit, I offloaded them because something like that is a little harder to get rid of.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Now I showed you that barber. It's an older one, but it's a dime,
Oh,
barber
Barber
dime.
Dime. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like those, man.
yeah.
That's cool. Very cool,
So
man.
so
So
I'm definitely with you as far as the constitutional goes, and it's holding its value, and it's there, and realistically, everybody who's stacking should probably own some. How much I couldn't tell you. You know, I'm working on filling. I've got a cigar box, and that's what I want to fill, and I just want to
that's
dump it
cool.
in there, and I want to be able to dump it out. And I always keep this. I had a buddy make me some pouches like this, and
That's cool.
I wanted a pouch like you see Jack Sparrow carrying in the Pirates movie, but
Oh
his
yeah.
was wasn't full of junk silver.
Paulie, let's take a step back. Can you define for the viewers, because again, this is a how to get started video. What is constitutional?
Constitutional silver. It's pre 1964 and before. So
Mhm.
the year 1964 was the last year the U.S. government, well, not true, made it out of 90% silver. 1964 and before, the quarters, the dimes, the half dollars, and your Morgan and peace dollars there, were 90% silver. What's the year for the half dollar and the Kennedys? What's that go up to? 68? They're 40%,
69.
69.
69. Yep.
They're 40% silver, so a little bit less
Right.
than what this one would be. This is a
Right.
64, I think.
Yep.
So this is 90% silver half dollar.
Right.
That's what considered, whether they call it junk silver. It does. A lot of people get offended by that term too, but
Yeah. So that's an interchangeable
junk,
word would be the
yeah,
junk. Yeah,
junk
junk silver.
constitutional pre
90%.
64 and before is
Yep.
90% silver. So if you're out there and you're listening and you didn't know that, before you go dumping your change into the Coinstar, give it a look. Because even those Coinstars, if you ever been to one and reach your hand in there and pull out a silver dime,
At
people
least $5 worth, man.
say
At least.
honestly, people leave them all the time, or they
Yep.
pull them out of there and they just set them up top because they
Yep.
don't think the machine's reading it, and they're like, it's just 10 cents. Well, it's actually about $2.
Exactly.
You know,
So what about nickels? Nickels fall into that category?
I'll show you a nickel. War nickels, 35% silver. I had little PB leathered. The same guy that made my pouches
Nice.
Desert Bob's Leather and Loot made me some war nickel
holder.
discs.
How about that, man?
Yeah. So war nickels, god dang it. Now you catch me off guard. The date on this one, they only did them or they were only made. Why they were made is because they needed the metal that they were using for the nickels for the war. It's why they're called war nickels.
Right.
So they had to use a little bit of silver in them.
So they cut them
43.
with
Yeah,
right.
43. I've got a couple more in here too. I had 20 of these made, so I had to buy a roll of war nickels so I could hand these things out to people around the community. So yeah, 35% on those. I don't know. I mean, there's silver in them, right?
Yep.
So
there's a little bit. So as an aside, the U.S. Mint still does make quarters, nickels, and dimes with silver in them, but those are typically the proof silver ones. And I think
proof silver
so they were 90% up until like I don't know what 2021 or something like that, or 2019, I don't know. And then after that, they started making them out of 99 or 0.99 or 0.999. So it's pretty much pure silver now.
Yes.
But yeah, those are only the silver proofs. That's not all the proofs. It's only the
proofs.
Right.
I had some. Well, I actually just gave some away too in Christmas cards. Some proof dimes from the 50s. Proof dimes from the 50s.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Paulie, tell me what's your take on poured silver as an investment?
Poor.
I would agree.
That's another thing. That's another thing that people need to ease themselves into. We're giving away a 5-ounce poured silver piece. That's 5 ounces of silver. If you were to receive that in the mail from us, I don't know if you could take that into your coin shop and get spot for that. What would you think?
My take is it really depends on the shop. Some coin shop owners don't care for that stuff. They'll pay you like maybe a hair under spot. Some of them really do like poured pieces, especially if it's from a specific pour artist. And it can be considered a form of art, right? I mean, you look at some
definitely of these. Is. So that's what I want to kind of get into. They're definitely art pieces. You're paying, you're going to pay up on them. As far as investment, it's got to be a perfect piece. It's got to be a Picasso. It's got to be by someone who has been in the trade pouring stuff, and it's very limited. But
low
then the
serial number,
right? But then the issue you run in with that is now there's only so many available. The hype on something like that's only going to be around so long until other people hear about this thing. You know, a lot of that stuff sells out so damn fast before anybody even knows about it. And by the time they do know about it, they're like, I'm not paying that much for something like that, you know? So as far as investment as poured silver, no, I actually just talked about even people buying silver shot. Stay away from that. Yeah, you can get it really cheap, but yeah, just like that. It's cool for you've sold a lot of it to people who pour silver stuff. I mean, you've obviously poured silver stuff yourself. There's a use for it. There is a market for it. As far as stacking, it ain't for stacking. You know, it's got its purpose.
Right on.
And just being low premium doesn't make it a great thing for stacking, right?
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Now, tell me, Paulie, what is your now I'm asking you the questions. What is your take on numismatics? Like, define it and tell me the value of numismatics, like true.
It's something that I'm not quite involved in with yet because I can't see myself. I wouldn't call myself a true numismatic. Yeah, like that. It's tough. It's got to be. You got to find the right piece for you, right? Because it's got to be something that you're out there looking for. So for me, just to go in and buy a slab coin, being old silver Morgan, whatever have you, just like you had there. For me to have to go in and buy something like that is something that I would have to research. I would have to find out how many there are, how many were actually minted back in 1917, how many they think are still around, and how many are
at that grade.
How many have been certified? What is it worth at that grade? Exactly. So that's just a tough spot for me.
Is it even graded appropriately? Sometimes it might be misgraded, undergraded, or overgraded.
Exactly. And that's where people get, not that they get confused, but they get drawn into stuff like that. You know, it draws you in, you really like it, and you keep buying stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, man, look at, I've got these 4 coins here that I own now. If I ever wanted to try and sell them, this is what I paid for them. Hopefully I can get that back. And me personally, and I've done this. You know, I could have had a lot of gold right here that I could have sold to anybody. Anybody would have bought the gold that I got in my hand, but I got these couple pieces. I feel that way a lot. It's, what do they call that? Buyer's remorse.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to say a lot, but you get that. You spend that amount of money on that piece that you've been saving for, and then you get it and you're like, I could have bought like a lot of gold. Like, who's gonna, like, where can I take this to? Yeah, it's cool to show it off and set it on your desk for a while, but it's not stacking, right? It's quote unquote diversifying your portfolio, your stack, but it's a collectible. You're collecting at that point.
Yeah, it's defeating the purpose of stacking. So it's funny, I actually watched a video yesterday, day before, where this guy was explaining he had 32 Pamp Suisse Lady Fortuna bars, right? The 1 ounce bars. So like, for instance, this is a Pamp bar, but picture this one in gold, right? So he had 32 of these sitting around in gold, right? Yeah, that's a pretty one. So he had 32 Pamp bars in gold. And then he had a kilo bar of gold. And he was explaining, you know, weight wise, they're the same thing. Price wise, they're very different. So the smaller bars, because it takes the time and the effort to melt it down, measure it, you know, cut it, stamp it, everything down into those 1 ounce pieces, there's a cost involved there and individually packaged. So the price goes up. So he said the reality is if you buy a kilo bar, you'll have enough money left over compared to the 32 1 ounce bars to buy a whole nother ounce of gold plus another 10 grams. And so he showed, you know, for instance, like this is like a 10 gram bar. So you'd have enough to buy this in addition to those other
on top of the kilo you bought.
Kilo bar. Yeah. And it's not 32 ounces. It's whatever a troy
32.15.
Something like that. There you go. but that's true. If you're a stacker, you're looking for the
lower
most bang
premium
for your buck. Right?
You are. And that's where we talked about the 100 ounce bar. It's a tough one because it's, okay, you got the money to buy this 100 ounce bar. Who else is going to have the money to buy that 100 ounce bar from you if you're looking to sell it now? If you're going to go that deep into it, or maybe you just hate gold that much, why wouldn't you just pick up an ounce of gold and a tenth of gold, or an ounce of gold and 10 ounces of silver at that point? You know, because your money's still going somewhere. Your money's still going into precious metal. It's just not going into a paperweight.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And so you're talking about the value of
someone's more likely to buy an ounce of gold from you than they are a 100 ounce bar of silver. And
absolutely.
That's just, I don't want somebody to hold me to that, but that's damn near I would do that. If you came to me with a 100 ounce bar of silver or a 1 ounce piece of gold, I'm buying the gold from you and sending you home with the bar of silver.
Right. It's also more portable, honestly.
Right. And now a coin dealer, he might buy both from you. That's okay. That's fine. APMEX, they'll buy both from you. SD Bullion, they'll buy both from you. They're not going to pay you what you should get for them, but they're going to buy them from you. Somebody will buy them from you, but not locally. And it's going to take a while. You send your stuff, they look it over, then you get paid.
So, Paulie, what you're speaking to right there is the reality that as you buy these bigger and bigger solitary pieces, you're essentially dwindling down the pool of buyers that you could eventually have down the road. So, I guess to a new stacker, you got to consider the fact that yes, you will have one day amassed a huge amount of whatever your precious metals, your hoard, right? You've got all of these baubles, right? At some point, you're going to want to offload some of them, right? Maybe you need money. Maybe you got hard times or something. If they're all in 100
maybe your
ounce bars,
safe's overfilled.
maybe that's a good problem to have.
That would be a
right.
good problem.
So when you have that problem, you've got to offload. And if you've got to offload quick, it's way easier to offload something much smaller. All right. We're talking about fractionals, right? So 1/20th. This is a gold. Oh gosh, here we go.
There
this
it
is
is.
the gold 1/20th dragon.
Oh, it's a dragon. Okay.
Yeah, from 2000. So this is a beautiful piece. It does have numismatic value, but let's say it was just a generic 1/20th ounce piece, right? It's much harder to get, or much easier to get rid of this than something like, oh, I don't know, this guy right here.
Ooh.
Right. So this is a high premium.
That's a
1
beautiful
ounce.
coin.
Oh yeah, this is the Gold Liberty bucking Bronco.
Yeah.
So this thing,
America.
This thing I think is sitting somewhere around $3,000. Right. But even if it was
Probably
just I don't know, even if it was just one of these eagles, right? An eagle, like
Quarter
a modern.
ounce? What is that?
No, this is a 1 ounce.
Is it?
It's just in a massive
small. Yeah, it's in a
slab.
massive slab.
Yeah, right. So like compared to the other one, you can see they're roughly.
Yeah. I see it now.
So it's a 1 ounce, but you know what I mean? Like if you're looking at fractionals, you'll have a much larger pool of people who are able to buy that. Like if I were to throw this thing on Instagram right now, for the right price, I could have a buyer within seconds. You put something like this on there, it might take me a day or two to get the right buyer.
And that's just it, because there's so many of them out there, and there's so many people on Instagram, and they're looking at the same thing that everybody else is. And I don't care if you put yours up for $2,005. That same guy is looking for one for $2,000 because he's going to save himself $5. Right?
That's right. That's absolutely right.
It is. It is.
Ollie, what's your take on foreign coins versus U.S. government minted?
How far are we going foreign? You just talking Canada? You talking the Brits?
Talking say Libertad, say
so
whatever.
So honestly, I have a few Libertads. I steer clear of them. The premium is just outrageous to me. I know they're different than American bullion because they only mint so many of them. The Libertads, they end up with a mintage number. And what I mean by mint so many, the U.S. mint makes them as well. In the millions, though. I don't know what the mintage was this year, but I've got a book right here. Let's just take a look at an American Silver Eagle.
Yeah, it just tells the number off the most recent year.
Let's see what I can find here. Silver bullion right here. So here, let's go. That's 2002. So this is going to 2018. Okay, right here. 2017. 2017, they made 18 million. 2016, 37 million. 2015, 47 million. 2014, 44 million. 2019, 14 million. 15 million in 2018.
So there's no shortage.
No, there's definitely no shortage on Silver Eagles.
So what's a con about having a Silver Eagle?
A con about having a Silver Eagle?
So like the pro is that there's tons of them, right? What's the con? What's a negative?
The premium that these secondary bullion dealers pay, that charge us that. You know, they're buying them for spot plus a couple bucks from the U.S. Mint, but they buy. I'll give them this: they have to buy, what is it, 25,000 ounces?
Yeah, a lot.
So they got the balls to do it, and they sell it, and I give them props for that. But man, oh man, at one point in this year, I've done a lot of videos on one point this year, the premium on an American Silver Eagle was 100%. It was 100%. They were $50 and spot was 25 and change. It was nuts. And so I just don't understand it. They're not.
It's an ounce.
They're not scarce.
It's an
like
ounce.
They're out there, you know. Yeah. They're out there.
Yep. I mean, that's pretty designed, but I mean, let's be real. I mean,
it's just one of those things that just eats at you, you know.
To the new buyers, you're going to hear a lot of channels, and they're going to talk about how it's important to have the government minted bullion from your country, right? From your country, because if you have the one from your country, it'll be more likely accepted if SHTF happens
Sure.
or whatever, if some bad scenario happens and we go back to silver, which, guys, I don't know that will ever happen. I don't think it will. But they'll convince you, or they'll try to convince you, that American Silver Eagle is the way to go. And honestly, it's not. I mean, if you want to go something local, Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs have low premiums, and they are a far superior coin. They're beautiful. They have security
so
features
much more
to
security
them.
features. Now, don't get me wrong. It's very tough to fake an American Silver Eagle and get away with it. To new people, they are out there, and they will get you, and they do it all the time. China's sending the stuff here all the time. Yeah. Number one, that's why it's done in China. Like that stuff isn't done right here in America. It's against the law. It's a federal crime to mint one of those American Silver Eagles and try and pass it off as one of your own. That's why that's number one thing. What makes them very, very tough to counterfeit is because it is a federal offense. That's what it is. Not saying people aren't doing it, but it's a federal offense.
Right.
They did with their little notch out, I mean, they call it what they want, security device, whatever, man.
Goofy.
But
all right, Paulie, let's talk about security devices. What would you say is the country that offers the bullion coin with the most amount of security features?
Britannia.
100%.
Britannia. There's so many in there. I don't have one offhand. They got the micro engravings around. It's not around the rim. It's inside the rim. All the waves in the background, right? That's all micro.
Yeah, they have a
stuff.
Privy too. They got all kinds of stuff.
They got the privy with the lock and the trident, and then they got the same thing in the shield that she's holding, and that's got stuff like this.
Raised in it, yep.
And like I said, that micro engraving, and I know there's another one, I just can't think of it offhand. But yeah, that is.
What's the premium? What's the premium on those?
If not the same as a maple, a little bit lower. Britannias are pretty reasonable. Higher than generics.
But for the amount of security features, you're not going to find a counterfeit. If you did find a counterfeit,
they get milky. And that's why I would lean someone more towards the Canadian Maple Leaf, because since 2018 they got that mint guard they put on it. Yeah. And so what it is it's not, realistically, the coins are still milk spotting, you're just not seeing it, right? It's hidden to your eye is what they did with it. And I have maples today that do not have milk spots on them from the time that they started using this mint guard technology, right?
Right.
It's when you're talking about, we're talking about holding the coins and everything like that. Mm-hmm. You don't really have to worry about it. You start getting milk spots on your coins. I opened up a tube. I bought a tube of 2021, brand new in 2021, Una and the Lion. I bought the whole tube for resale, individual coins. I got that tube sent to me, and every one of those, I did a video on it too. Every one of those coins had a milk spot on it. Oh, every single one of them. Ugliest thing you ever saw. Beautiful coin, ugliest thing you ever saw. That's something the Royal Mint still fights. I don't understand it.
Paulie, what's a milk spot? How's it caused, and why is it a problem?
Okay, so it happens in the cleaning process of the planchets, right? Something just doesn't. I can't really explain it because I'm not someone. What is it? It's
the annealing process. Yeah.
Yes, it's between the heating and the cooling and the chemical, and it just doesn't completely get.
They don't wash it off all the way. Right. Yeah, that's the problem. Is it's not properly rinsed.
So then they get pressed, and it comes through. Yep. It's there, and it just. That's what it is.
But here's the worst part. Yeah, and it literally looks like little droplets of milk spread across the coin, right? And the worst part is that they don't always show up right away. So you could send a coin off to grading, it can get a perfect 70, and you get it back in the slab, and it looks gorgeous. Yep. You throw it in your safe, and 4 years later you pull it out, and it's covered in milk spots.
And it's got nothing to do with air. It's got nothing to do, because we had Pawn Man on here, and he actually said something that I didn't know, but those aren't airtight. Those slabs aren't airtight, and he's seen them rot in people's safes because they thought they were airtight. So it has nothing to do with the air or being airtight. It's there. It's always been there, and it's bound to show up.
Right on.
Look at 2023 Eagles. I've got 2023 Eagles that's got milk spots. It doesn't matter the year, but you get some years that are really good. 2014, 2015. I just said how many millions they've made. I don't think I've seen a milk spot on a 2014 or 2015.
Right. It's crazy.
So it's the fit and finish.
Speaking of finish.
What the hell do I want to say?
I don't know, man. You tell me.
Lost a word.
Paulie, what are some of the different finishes you might find on a coin? And why does it matter?
Well, it really doesn't matter. It matters to you if you enjoy it. So proofs, you're going to see a lot lower mintage. Proof is your mirrored fields in your frosted devices, right?
Yes.
And the reverse proof is the exact opposite of what I just said.
Right.
They have what we stack, be your business strike. That's your bullion coin. That's your American Silver Eagle. That's your Canadian Maple Leaf. Now, the Maple Leaf's a little different, though. Their bullion coin, it's a touch of reverse proof, kind of like.
Yeah.
But not 100%.
Yeah, because they do have a reverse proof version, and you can tell it's reverse proof. But yeah,
Exactly.
You're right. It's a different type of finish.
Exactly. And that goes with the Britannia too. It's just they're a different finish. So those are just what would be considered their business strikes, as what we would consider here, but they're just a much cleaner looking coin.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, those are what you're going to find.
And occasionally like an antiqued.
Also. Antiqued. Yeah. But that's a different process. Why don't you explain that?
Okay, so antiqued, they will put it into a chemical that will give it patina or toning. It's usually something that's sulfur based. So they'll leave it in it's just a chemical treatment. Takes seconds, smells like rotting eggs or farts or whatever. And then they give it a really quick little buff just to bring out that surface image. So what ends up happening is you have the background that's kind of subdued, and it looks nice.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one.
Yeah, that's Zeus. So they do that. I
was just showing off one of those.
And not every coin will carry all of those, right? So if you have let's say Libertad, you might have some Libertads that do come, let's say on a given year, like 2008, that they would have proof, reverse proof, antiqued, and the normal business strike. But that doesn't mean that every year they do it the same way. And also there's some people who aftermarket, they'll do it. They'll take a coin.
Yes, 100%. 100%. You'll see that coloring or the old one that pops in my head because you said Libertad is those like the Norcos, right there. There it is.
Narcos. Yeah. Yep. So this one has like some copper and oboling and some other stuff on it. But it's a Libertad. It's just a regular old Libertad. Yep. Couple lines of Coke on it. And they just make it look cool. But let me ask you, Paulie, would you even spend your money on something like that?
No. Yes. I have.
Or depends.
I have actually. Yeah. So it's like that one. Like that's a cool piece. Well, what do they make? So somebody took a Libertad and they made maybe 100, maybe 500 coins like that, right? Yeah. So it all depends, man. It's all as you and the person. What strikes you about that thing? Are you buying it because, anarchy? Yeah. Are you buying it because you like it? Are you buying it because somebody else might like it down the road and you're going to make a few bucks on it?
Right.
These are all speculations that nobody knows. Nobody knows. If you paid $100 for that, are you going to get $100 back?
And Paulie, I think you hit the nail on the head. So for new buyers, a lot of these purchases, if you're purchasing for the intent of resale, it's all speculative.
Yeah.
You have no idea what anybody's going to want. And just because you think it looks cool doesn't mean anybody else is going to want to buy that from you for the price you paid.
That's right. And it's all a lot. 99% of it is speculation when you start talking about series coins and a lot of them get pumped up so much. And once the particular seller sells off what they have, you don't hear about it no more.
That's right.
They did their job. They got rid of their stock and away we go. On to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one. It's quite the racket, man. It's quite the racket. And that's not stacking. It's definitely not stacking.
So we spent a bit of time so far talking about silver. There's another metal that I think you and I are both aficionados of.
Fond of?
At least a little.
What do
Let's
you
see what
got?
you got.
Gold? What do you got? Gold laying there?
I have a little bit. I think I showed a couple of the pieces off so far. But if somebody wanted to get into gold, Paulie, how would you suggest they start?
See, now this is going to be the exact opposite for me when we're talking about silver and government minted. And
Okay.
if it was stacking silver, I would be sticking to generics. If you're starting off, get your feet wet, get into generics. If you're buying gold and you're starting off buying gold, definitely take a look at your country's bullion coin, whether it's Canada, whether it's the United States, whether it's Mexico, whether it's Australia, wherever. And start there. Gold is faked so much. And I'm not going to say faked more than silver, but it's faked so much because there's people fake like gold bars, even in these assays. They're getting so good at it that it's fooling XRF machines, not XRF machines, those
Sigmas.
It's fooling Sigmas because they're meant to scan, basically the top and maybe a little bit of the bottom of your silver or gold coin, and they'll pass. Sometimes they'll pass a magnet test. A lot of times they'll pass a weight test, but inside of that is tungsten or something. Yeah. So a government minted coin, when you're talking about stacking gold, is something I would really push somebody into starting at. And it with gold, there is a price point for everybody. From that little 1/20th you just showed. We'll talk forever if we get into premiums and stuff, but there's a price point for everybody. The smaller it gets, the more premium you're going to pay over that spot price. Around a 1/10 ounce, anywhere from 12 to 15%. Quarter ounce, probably just a little bit less, maybe 10 to 12%, right? And then you get into a half ounce and a full ounce. Full ounce, you should be anywhere between 4, 5, 6%, depending on what it is and where spot price is.
Right. And then kilo would be closer to about 2%.
But then again, I'm going to say if you're just getting into it,
yeah, you're probably not buying a kilo.
Yeah, just be careful. I mean, but people are. I mean, people get into it and they got $150,000 to spend from out of nowhere, but they know they just want to buy some gold. So what's somebody going to talk them into buying if they go into a dealer?
3 kilos.
Get rid of this kilo bar because it's been sitting here for a year.
That's
right. Give me your money. Hell yeah, I'll take it.
Give you a good price.
Buy another box of Eagles.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's just not many. It's just like 100-ounce silver bar. There ain't many people out there looking to buy your kilo gold bar. Now there are people, but not everybody.
Right, and that's going to be often dependent on location too, because if you're in, I don't know, let's say the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, right, the mountains of Tennessee versus South Beach, Miami.
Yeah,
that's different people, right?
Yeah,
and you have people with a ton of money. You see Lamborghinis everywhere. Yeah, they're going to have more money to be able to buy a kilo than somebody who's living in the mountains. But yeah, so Paulie, let's say I've saved up $2,000. I want to buy myself an ounce of gold.
Yep.
What's a good place to start? Just 1 ounce, just to get my feet wet.
Good luck. $2,000.
I plus or minus 100. All right.
Yeah, right.
So let's say what's the closest to spot you can get me?
I would call Guido.
Yes.
And I would ask him for a price on a buffalo. That's where I would go. I actually told somebody today, I don't collect gold. I mean, I do, but I don't. So if I'm buying gold that's a collector's piece, like the Spanish Royal Mint is making those beautiful gold coins, right? And I just bought that from SD Bullion. Scottsdale Mint makes it, that Commander series. Okay, I'm not buying the full ounce to collect because I know how that's going to end up. Like it's a fad basically right now. It's a beautiful coin, don't get me wrong, but I would rather collect the smaller piece for my own personal collection rather than trying to set on an overpriced 1 ounce piece of gold and then somewhere down the line try and sell it for at least what I paid, maybe. I would be looking at the Eagle or the Buffalo myself.
Right,
and if somebody from North Carolina come up to me and ask me what they should buy, that's where I would point them, is the Eagle or the Buffalo.
I agree. I
Yep.
agree. So Guido's a good starting point if you guys don't know who he is. One thing we didn't touch on, and I've been dropping the word, Polly, you have too,
Yeah.
is spot price. What is
Yep.
spot price? And that's for the viewer, for the new guy. That is the fixed price. I believe it's based off of the London Bullion Exchange, LBMA, right? So they set the price for gold, silver, platinum, palladium. It's pretty much any metals,
Yep.
even base metals. They all have a spot price, and it's going to be based off of anything from the gram all the way up to the kilo.
Yep.
That they have that all figured out. So spot price changes, it shifts, but the premium
By
that
the
you
second.
pay, yeah, it changes by the second, guys.
Yep.
The premium that you pay is going to be a percentage over spot price that a person might be selling the piece for. So if you get
I've
something,
actually just recorded a whole video on this.
there you go. Watch his video, guys. I bet
Well,
it's awesome.
it'll publish sometime after Christmas. I've been trying to record as
okay.
much as I possibly can so I can not have to do it when I'm off of work and then
Hey,
just set them to publish. But I actually just did a whole video talking about spot price, what it is, ask price, bid price, all that
I
stuff
love it.
for beginners to get into, because you don't know. I never knew. I never knew what an ask price was, what a bid price was. Didn't know what spot
Right.
price was. It's not dumb to ask. I
And
mean,
it's not intuitive either.
no, these are things that people need to know, and
Right.
it's something that I'm looking forward to doing in 2024. Is I haven't really done videos like that because there's just so much of it out there. Well, that's fine. There can be another one out there.
Right.
That's my plan, is gunning more towards that stuff to attract new people coming into the hobby of stacking precious metals.
Right on. So
And
something
again, I just said the word hobby, right?
yeah.
It's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
If I just listened to a title, or didn't listen. I read a title on a video today. My bullion dealer says this metal's stupid, or this something is stupid. This is what you should be stacking. It's so clickbaity. So
Of course.
clickbaity. So clickbaity. And got a bullion dealer standing there like this. That's not what it is, dude. It's not meant. There's a fun side to it and there's a serious side to it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna take it fun, fine. If you're gonna take it serious, you're gonna go about it the right way. You're gonna go down the right track. And maybe sometimes you veer off. It happens to me all the time. But you're gonna have your goals that you set. If you want to stack 100 ounces in 2024, you can do it. You just got to stick to it. You can't go buy the other stuff. You got to stick to your goal.
Right on. So on your topic of reaching out to Guido, I would say I agree, because I bought a lot of gold from him before. If you're a first time buyer, something to think about is, if you've done your research and you've not been able to find gold at spot or close to spot, there are a couple of companies. One that comes to mind, and this is not paid, Nationwide Coin and Bullion Reserve.
Yep.
So that was the one I showed earlier. This is the 1 ounce.
That's exactly it.
Gold piece right there. So this, if it would come into focus, there you go. It's too shiny.
There it is.
So this sucker right here, this is 1 ounce gold eagle, right?
Yep.
At spot. So at spot at the time, I think spot was like 1927 or something like that. So you can get these pieces at whatever the current spot price is. Of course, they're going to try to upsell you. Just don't buy into that, because that's where they get you. That's how they're able to sell.
That's why they can sell those at spot.
Yeah. So that's where they get you. But if you're firm with them and you say, okay, I just want to try your company out, see how it works. Let me get this one piece at spot. It comes in the mail. It's in a beautiful capsule. If you don't like the capsule, bust it out. It's real. It's going to be real. So you're good. And there's a couple of companies like that, but you can only use it once. You can only do that once.
Yes.
So tap into that, get your feet wet, and then look at like Guido or other sources. But Paulie,
shoot us an email.
Shoot us an email. We can tell you who we would go to.
Yeah.
Paulie, on that
That's just it. I
subject.
feel bad just saying Guido, but he is a really good one. But there's so many other ones. We've had him on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Do your homework.
There's lots of folks out there. They're really good.
Yep.
On the subject, Paulie, knowing what you know now,
yeah,
what would you, let's say it was your kid who was getting into
yep.
stacking, where would you tell them not to buy from?
Where would I tell them not to buy from? Oof.
Or what methods would you tell them not to employ when purchasing?
That's a good question. That's a great question. If I was trying to point my kid in the right direction because of where we live, I would sit down with them on a laptop, and I'm gonna say a company name, but they don't sponsor me personally. They don't sponsor this show at all. Definitely because they're so local to us here in the state is SD Bullion, and we would start looking because, like I said, just the trip itself to go to a coin shop, yeah, it would be fun, but to make that every single week to fulfill the little bit of money that you want to put into the hobby, it just doesn't. It doesn't, because you're not just going to make that trip. You're going to stop here. You're going to stop there. You're going to spend more money in other places in that traveling just to go pick up your quote unquote savings. Right.
Right.
So online buy, I do 99% of my buying is online. So I would definitely start there in SD Bullion's Southern Michigan. I think they're based. I think they got a couple offices, one in Northern Indiana or Ohio, but then one in Texas as well. But their shipping comes from Southern Michigan.
Yeah, I think they're what do they call it? SD Bearings Company. Like they label it with like bearings so that nobody steals your stuff, which I like that. That's pretty cool.
Most of them do. Most of them do that. They come up with a different labeling for their name rather than having bullion or gold and silver in it.
So I was kind of fishing more at the I'll be more blunt with it. Well, what's your take on raffles?
Oh shit.
Duck races and things like that.
I've been pretty well for a while there. I was pretty vocal on it. I wouldn't send my kid to one. I don't participate in them. It is what it is, man. At this point, it's people are going to do what they want to do. I don't agree with it, but you can't police it. It's people are having fun all at the same time. They're having fun doing it. They know what they're getting into. They know if they spend that money and they don't get something in the mail, they had it coming. It's hit or miss. With me anymore. I don't participate, but I'm not telling you not to.
Yeah. I've done.
I gamble on football. I gamble on sports. That's not very smart. So there you go. You're gambling with precious metals. You're gambling with savings. I gamble with piss away money, I guess, if you want to call it that.
And Tommy said it really well when he said that most of the folks in the metals industry in this arena, we all have to some level a gambling addictive personality, right? And I think that that's true. I think that I like to hit the poker tables, but
we're all an addict of some sort.
I've played maybe 4 or 5 raffles. I've won one. And as soon as I won, I stopped. But I think one of the worst things that could have happened is if I would have won the first one.
Yeah.
I think it's that hit. Because, it gives you a rush.
I've broken it down, and that's exactly it. It's a hit. It's the rush. But now it's, okay, now I'm money ahead because I just won this $100 or $125 retail coin
for $20.
Not even $6, right?
$6.
Depending on how many people are in it.
Yep,
so I could turn around and sell that now for shit. I don't care. $60-$80. It's going to sell just like that. You just diluted the price on something that has a retail value on it that's still available.
Right.
And you put money in your own pocket to go. That $80 could be gone on your next 10, 15 raffles,
Right.
That's what the people who hold them, that's what they don't understand. But again, they paid for the product. They know what the product costs, and they know what they can get out of it by the raffles, by the scratchies, right? They know what they can get out of them, but at that point, they don't care. They got what they needed back out of it, and whatever the other person does with that they sold, that's on them too. Yeah, you got a really nice piece. Yep, you could flip it right now. It hurts the guy who's actually out there trying to sell it.
Talk to me about Online auctions.
Online auctions. Same thing. Fun, not for stacking. You can get some great deals.
Absolutely.
You can get some great deals. And a lot of people who I've met through YouTube are in states who tax bullion. And going to YouTube and what I may think or you may think they're overpaying for something, they're actually saving money by buying it from that person. We may think they're overpaying, but they just saved themselves 8, 9, 10% on taxes.
Right. That's very true.
Then if they're not spending $1,000, $2,000, they don't have to. They can buy it still legally through here, not pay the taxes, and afford to pay that little bit of extra because they don't need to dump $2,000 to an online bullion dealer and then be charged still.
I think
that's where I'm at with that.
My biggest word of caution would be not to get emotionally invested in any bidding.
Yeah.
Because that can often happen. You see somebody who just kind of like,
it's fun. It's happened. It's fun. That's how I got my I got a bar one time.
Yeah.
Got into war with a guy. He won it. Ended up paying $110 for a 1 ounce silver bar. He gave it to me, and I paid $110 for a 19 some odd Walking Liberty because that was his coin. He loved him, and I was paying him back somehow. So he kept bidding me up on this Walking Liberty and just a random coin, just like this, just random like this.
So silly.
I ended up paying $110 and giving it to him just so I could repay him for buying that bar and sending it to me.
Dang.
And I stopped at 100 and he went to 110. I said, I'm not going over 100.
Yeah. So I agree that auctions can be a good place to pick up some good deals, like whether it be on Whatnot, on YouTube.
Yes.
Sometimes there's even auctions on Instagram. But yeah, I mean,
eBay's starting up again.
eBay's starting up. Yep. Mm-hmm. But you can easily get into the trap of, competition, and then you bid something up way higher than you could find
Especially when the auctioneer really starts using your name, your handle on whichever one you are, and you keep hearing your name and seeing your name in the chat. Oh, yeah. It gives you a big ass head, man. And next thing you know, you got a $1,000 bill you got to cough up.
And you got played.
And you get 6 ounces of silver.
I've been on the receiving end of that. I've probably been on the on the delivering end of that as well. But I've done many at auctions. But again, this is if this is the advice that I would give to my children. Like, you don't need to do that. Like, there's other ways. There is.
It's fun. It is.
It is. Paulie, to the unknowing eye, I guess, or to the unknowing individual. Can you, maybe you know this, maybe I think you probably know this. Who is the stacking wise? Who are the biggest holders of gold nationally?
Shit, dude, I don't know.
Indian housewives. Jewelry. That's another way to stack, and a lot of people don't consider that. And there's benefits to jewelry as well, because you can carry it internationally on you.
Yes.
And it's not going to be something that you have to claim in customs. It's a pretty cool piece. So actually, I have a nice little jewelry piece. This is one that I poured myself.
The sun god.
Yeah, the Incan sun god.
Didn't you 3D printed the?
Yeah, I did.
The design for
actually, I have the mold right over here. 1 second. So yeah, I have this
3D prints, by the way.
I have this mold. So here you can see. Maybe you can't see, but anyways, it's
tilt it down. There it is.
There it is. That's the mold.
That's his mold right there.
And then the other piece goes here. So basically, you just clamp those together, and you pour the hot wax. You end up with something that looks like that.
Yeah.
And that gets basically investment casted, and you pour gold into it, and you end up with
what's that weigh?
About 1.5 ounces.
What'd you use?
22 karat.
What'd you melt down?
Gold, shot. I had gold shot.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Shot, or did you just take an eagle and
melt
those down?
So I cut it. I cut it with some copper and some silver to give it a little bit of color. But yeah, it's 22 karat. It's probably a little heavy, so it might be 23 karat. But yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful piece.
Really, really soft.
Be a nice. Yeah, well, yeah, it is, but
Yeah,
I don't wear it. I just kind of eventually I'll get a chain that can hold this sucker because it's heavy, man. That's a
looks
heavy piece.
good.
But I mean, other jewelry pieces you can get, coin rings or even scrap jewelry. Scrap is another way you can stack for cheap. Just anything like
It
this little
is.
piece
Yes,
of
yes,
gold.
it is. What the
Yeah,
hell is that?
it's just a little flat piece of gold that I was going to make into something, and I never did anything with it. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
I think I've heard that you could a 1 ounce piece of gold could be flattened out because it's so dense to cover a football field.
Yeah, so you're talking like flat to the thickness of like gold foil, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
kind of stuff that you put on
but
like I
could be
don't know.
done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the
That's
beauty
crazy
of
to
it.
me.
It's
That's
super
that's
malleable.
crazy to me. It is.
I told you about the house that I I'm not gonna say I snuck into. We convinced not the owners, I guess the listing agents. It was Sotheby's. We convinced the listing agents that we were representing multimillionaires and we needed to see this property on behalf of this person. And they gave us the grand tour. It was a $159 million home. It had
Holy
half a
smokes.
million, yeah, $500,000 of gold leafing inside the building, just in gold
Really?
leafing, right? I'm talking the ceiling
What
was
is it? Where
done.
they recorded Scarface?
It looked like it. It looked a
No
lot like it,
doubt.
but it
No
was
doubt.
it was in oh shoot, it was called La Palais Royale. You can look it up.
Okay.
I'll bust out some photos next time, but I mean, this place was insane, dude. 5 water features, 500 feet of beachfront, and on the other side, on the intercoastal, it had enough space for like 160-foot yacht.
And
It
who'd they let
was
in there? You and some buddies?
me, my wife. My wife was freaking out, dude. She was like, "We do not belong in here." I'm like, "Yeah, we do." And yeah, I brought a couple of my friends along too, so we were all just like walking around checking it out. They had a movie theater in the bottom floor that was on its own foundation, so that when the bass would hit, you wouldn't feel it from anywhere else in the house. So it was
Wow.
like a separate foundation for this movie theater. They had a vault that was behind this massive painting, but the vault you could walk into. They had, I don't know, this wine cellar that would put most restaurants to shame.
Oh my
Yeah,
lord.
banquet hall had, I don't even know how many
You didn't
bedrooms.
buy it, huh?
No, not this time, man. I wasn't liquid at the time. So liquidity crisis, but it was pretty cool. I'll bust out some photos next time.
Please do. Drop them on the
Yeah,
website.
I should. Any closing thoughts?
Just yeah, be smart about it. If you watch this and you made it this far and you're just getting into stacking, shoot us an email if you need some more tips, where to go, what to look for. Just it's not a race. It's definitely not a race. Don't watch a bunch of YouTube videos and think that someone who dropped a couple guardhouse boxes and a box of American Silver Eagles on a desk and talks with their hands, don't think that they didn't really work to get all that stuff. They've been doing it for years, and so some of these guys have been. There's a lot of stacking. There's a lot of information on YouTube that you can get yourself in. There's a lot of good information. There's a lot of bad information. You just decide which route you want to go, and I think you'll be just fine. But it's definitely not a race, man. It's not a race.
Those are probably the strongest words that I've heard spoken probably in the past hour, that this isn't a race. And you're
Yeah,
absolutely right. Like I think the thing that got me in the beginning was wanting to buy every last bit of
yeah,
silver I could get my hands on because it was
yeah.
running out. But it's
It's
not
okay
running out.
not to buy. Right.
There's
It's
plenty
okay
enough
to
silver.
pay your
Yeah.
bills first before you go out and buy even 1 ounce of silver.
Yeah. Don't
You
piss
got
off
to
your
make
wife either.
sure you got to make sure that your stuff's taken care of at home. You have to.
100%.
Stacking isn't. You don't want to stack precious metals and have to sell it the following month because you got yourself in overboard. That's not the
Yeah.
point of it. The point of it is it's money that you don't necessarily need to use today,
Yeah.
but you also don't necessarily need it tomorrow. It's for the future, obviously,
Yeah.
but don't take your paycheck and go buy precious metals if your bills ain't paid. I don't know how else to put it.
Don't take a credit card and buy precious metals on a credit card either, unless you're good enough to pay
There
it
you
off.
go.
There you go.
To a point, because I buy a lot on a credit card. I do buy a lot, but that bill gets paid off every month, and that's a whole nother spiel we can get into. But that's a whole time thing. I was, dude, and it's funny you said that. I did a video about the bullion card, and I've got a guy questioning me on there. I mean, he just did a list of questions about this thing, and I was responding. His last thing was, "I'm sorry if I'm annoying you," and none of my responses were
pushy,
bad whatsoever. He goes, "I'm just trying to figure out what you were exactly talking about, because I was talking about interest rates, and I was talking about 0% interest, and I was talking about the variable interest." And I said, "Dude, don't ever apologize for asking questions. The worst thing you can do is not ask questions. Merry Christmas."
Right.
Don't ever apologize for asking questions. The worst question
is the one that wasn't asked.
Yeah, there you go. There's so many of those little things that just want to come off my tongue. It just doesn't happen sometimes.
That's why I'm here, man.
So yeah, man, that's what do you got? What do you got for a closing? Tell me.
Costco has gold now. It's not a race. Costco has gold. If, like Paulie said, if you know how to use a credit card, there's an opportunity 100%. To potentially get it under spot. But again, do your research. Don't dive in headfirst into anything. Make smart decisions. And again, like Paulie said 100 times, email us if you have questions. We're happy to answer them. Nobody's so busy that you can't.
We got lives. We're gonna get to you. It's not. It's if your email is not answered within the first 5 minutes, please email us again.
Just wait longer.
We're definitely gonna respond to you if you send us a personal email, and we will point you in what we believe to be the right direction.
Well, Paulie, this was great. Very educational.
Until next time.